Hello, my dear friends. Today is a momentous day. What are your first thoughts about Rome? When you plan your trip to Rome, what attractions pop up in your mind? Is there any attractions you do not want to miss while in Rome? Today I will take you to the Vatican Museum, a place filled with history, art, and the spirit that has permeated for centuries. The site that you should not miss while you're in Rome. I would like to share my impressions about the Sistine Chapel and Raphael's room. It was a fantastic feeling as I walked through the museum's corridors. It was like I was going through the states, experienced various periods, or as if I had reached a fairy tale. Just before you go or you book your ticket, there is a 7 tips. What I think it's really important to know before you visit the Vatican Museum. The first one and most important tip is to buy a ticket in advance. I didn't want to wait in line for 3 hours, which is possibly even longer, to buy a ticket, and lots of companies sell the tickets, so it won't be a big problem. Just be careful not to run into fake sellers. For all information, you can find the link below this video. There are some days when the museum is less seen, and the time of the year you will not encounter a huge crowd, which is quite nice. But none of these actually matter. Sometimes it's more important when you are ready to visit a place like the Vatican Museum. My second tip would be to dress comfortably. Flat and comfortable shoes are must-have. After 3 hours of walking through the museum, I could not feel my feet, and there was so much more to see. And I was planning to come to the museum. I had nothing else in my mind that day, as I had no limits myself in time. I think I spent a total of 5 to 6 hours in the museum. The average time spent in the museum is about 2 to 3 hours. But I was so fascinated by art that it lasted for a long period. The area of the museum is approximately 7.5 kilometers, so good luck! There are also dress code for museum visitors. The skirts or shorts you are wearing must cover your knees. You should also not wear anything sleeveless. However, you can always bring a scarf to cover your bare shoulders. Tip number 3, an equally important point, is to have some snacks with you. I walked a lot and looked at the details. It took me about 3 hours to get to the cafeteria, and where there was no choice of food and drinks. If you haven't had the breakfast, it can make you really nervous, or your blood pressure will go very low. The cafe was so busy, so I waited around 50 minutes to my turn, maybe even longer. So please bring some snacks or even protein bars or snack bars, so just to keep your level of sugar high. Tip number 4. Be careful what you take with you to the Vatican Museum. See on the website what is allowed and what is not. Also, you can see all the details on the link below the video. Tip number 5. Be aware of pickpockets. You may realize later that you are missing some things. Maybe a wallet or maybe something else. Tip number 6. Don't miss certain parts of the museum, such as a pinacoteca. There you will see a unique collection of paintings from around the world, especially the Sistine Chapel, a masterpiece in itself. I sat there for a half an hour enjoying the view and resting my feet. That was really perfect place. And Tip number 7. Do not visit the Vatican Museum on Sundays and Mondays. It is closed on Sundays except for the last week of the month when the entrance is free, but then it is the most visited. To a visit to a museum will not be really pleasant. On Mondays, most museums are closed, so the museum is the busiest at that time, and then there are the biggest crowds, so try to avoid that too. My visit lasted quite a long time, and I didn't have any particular plan except what I didn't want to miss. I have to admit that I'm ready to spend lots of time walking the corridors and enjoying the art, although it is very exhausting. As always, I was overjoyed wherever I traveled. I couldn't miss Egyptian art and history. For me, Egypt always attracted me. When I visited Egypt on the occasion after I finished my studies, I felt like at home, even though everything was somehow strange to me at the same time. I felt as free and comfortable in Luxor as I did when I walked through Alexandria. Why is that? I really don't know. These are my impressions of Vatican. The map gallery was also amazing to me. I loved all maps. You can see the wall covered with 40 different maps showing different regions of Italy, and some maps were turned upside down by today's standards. That's only because in the 16th century, the north was at the bottom of the map. What was beautiful to me were the Vatican gardens too. I think all the gardens of Italy are beautiful and are made for a man to enjoy while walking. What was vital for me to visit in Vatican and what I did not want to miss were the Raphael's rooms. I would like to share my impressions about the Sistine Chapel and Raphael's room. It was a fantastic feeling as I walked through the museum's corridors. It was like I was going through the states, experienced various periods, or as if I had reached a fairy tale. The Raphael's rooms are one of the most famous Renaissance interiors. Raphael and his assistants painted those frescoes between 1508 and 1524. And at the same time, Michelangelo Buonarroti was working on Sistine Chapel. There is a story about Raphael who sneaked out at night to inspect Michelangelo's work. While working on those 4 rooms, he mastered the signature techniques of the Renaissance and showed off them emotionally and expression with precise color and clarity. 4 famous Raphael's rooms you should not miss, and one of them is Room of Signatura. Room of Heliodorus. It's recently restored in 2020. The idea was to show the power of the Church and the protection granted by Christ. Third room is the Room of the Fire in the Borgo. When Julius II died, Pope Leo X decided to paint all the popes who had the same name as Leo III and Leo IV. It was actually Pope Leo's dining room, and the paintings you must see is Fire in the Borgo. It looks really extraordinary. This paint shows lots of emotions, muscular of the figures, which represent mannerism in the future art. And the fourth and the last room is Hall of Constantine. The frescoes are dedicated to Constantine's life and symbolically represent the Church's victory over paganism. The Room of Constantine is kind of the largest and most politically oriented, and the frescoes intended to simulate tapestries. There is few of them that I think they are extraordinary. Hopefully you enjoy this video, and you can find some useful links in the video below. Also, thank you very much for watching, and